All right, before we start day 16, this is what it looks like to walk through the Chateau in the evening now with the lights on. Oh, it's magical. I think the students are gonna love it when they get here. And then we had a gentle falling rain. Oh, it was just with the lights on it. Man, oh man, super cool. Day 16, and we're up early because we got to switch out rental cars. Always tricky to get back to Angers, back to Paris. So a few days before you go back, or sometimes a week, you drive into Angers and you rent a car for a week or a couple days, and then drive it back, then return your local car, and then when you go to take the train to Paris, you return that rental car. It's complicated because we don't know anybody. Well, we know some people, but not well enough to.
Well, not to bother
ask
anybody.
Them to drive for an hour.
Yeah, no. And we had this car for a month already, so that's why we have to switch it out earlier than normal. So you can see we've got the Angers Chateau coming up beside us, which is always fun.
And then on to the train station.
And then the beautiful river next door.
Le Maine. Yeah, so driving in Europe, it's generally the same. You can't turn right on the red. These are always weird, like the right lane is a bus lane, and so it feels weird to take a right turn across a lane like that, but that is the way you do it.
It is, and you aren't allowed to go in it either. It doesn't matter how backed up you are, which I suppose that's what keeps the bus on schedule.
Cheeky.
It is a little.
The roundabouts that you really get used to, they're awesome.
They are awesome.
All right, here we come home. It's always interesting to see the roof. You can see they're caught up the back.
Yeah, that's pretty great.
And by the way, the roof looks fantastic from this front view coming in.
It does. I do look forward to having those little diagonal pieces patina and darker. But
yeah, those would be great.
Yeah.
Right.
Fun to see that tower getting done.
One thing I really like about having a chateau is the fact that you have so much space for storage or workers, working materials and tools and things like that, that if you do have materials, for example, we've got quite a bit of glass, big broken pieces that could be cut down into smaller pieces, cut glass that didn't quite fit. And we have enough room that we can find a place to store glass. And so I'm gonna move all the glass from the broken windows into one spot. And there's quite a bit of part elements of the work owning a chateau that really don't make great video. Like sometimes you have to do paperwork, or for example, this is a situation I'm trying to figure out how to turn off the water heater. Got a bunch of things, and I've turned them off, and so there's just no point in. This is the backup. This is the water heater that just does a couple bedrooms, and it's an electric water heater, and there's no point for us to be paying for hot water for months on end and not using it. So I'm trying to turn it off, but it's still warm. So I don't know what I'm doing wrong. Again, some of the jobs we do don't really translate great to video, but this is exciting. We just got an email from the French government saying there was an update to Leslie's account, and I opened it up, and Leslie just got approved for her 2024 year-long visa. Woo! We both now have residence visas for the whole year. Very exciting. The other non-video friendly task I've been working on today, again, is more grading and taking care of some of the academic work at my job at the university. And I've been thinking a lot about school. This is our classroom, this big, beautiful room. We do have some stuff, we have a picture down and some storage in here, but even with that, it's just a beautiful room. Let me walk around. I'll take some shots. I've really been thinking a lot about education with some of the tasks I've had for the day. When teachers come to the end of the term, it's time to do all the grading and look at all the assignments, and that's exactly where I am right now. And I've been thinking about education a lot, and partly I've been thinking a little bit about cheating. Sometimes that happens in schools. It's perhaps an epidemic in some of the bigger schools, the conventional schools, because it's just so difficult to catch students with all the different avenues a student might have for cheating, like the computer and AI and all of those different things. And I'm not saying I have any students that have cheated, but it does happen from time to time, and so you have to deal with it. And so I've been thinking about it a lot lately. And honestly, that's one of the things I really like about the education that we do in this room. The term experiential education was a term that I learned a few years ago, and it's terrific. People learn in different ways. There are some people that learn in a conventional manner, like they enjoy reading books and then they write tests and they write papers, and that's kind of how they learn best. But not everybody. Some learn very, very much hands-on. When they're doing projects and they're working, or when they're walking around looking at things, or some learn creatively, or when there's more discussion involved. And so what's happened kind of in the last 100 years, sometimes it feels like in education, is that the people that all have the same learning style, that is reading books, writing papers, doing tests, those people got to define what smart was and what education was and who was able to go into certain jobs, and it's completely unfair. I think a good educator thinks about different ways to educate students and also deals with different students. I love what we do in this room. There's a bunch of reasons. For one thing, we sit in the circle here and we go around the table when we're doing the Introduction to New Testament class, for example. We're reading through the whole text, and I'm sitting there. I can see all 16 or 20 of them. I see every single one, and I know who's engaged, and honestly, they're all pretty engaged. But if somebody would fall asleep or if somebody was to get bored, you'd know it right away because it comes around to their turn. So everybody's completely engaged. We've had 5 terms, and we've had 1 student miss 1 class, and that was because of COVID. And so compare that to like a conventional university where you might have 25% of the class missing on a given day. I've had teachers who've had 70-80% of the students missing some days, and yet they continue to get degrees, and it's kind of ridiculous in a lot of ways. So I love what we do here. I also love the experiential part, like when, for example, we go to the Roman Colosseum in Rome. Well, you're gonna have a good talk about martyrdom, and you're gonna have a good talk about Rome and the fall of Rome, and the treatment of slaves and gladiators and Christians and all the different things. You're gonna have a good education. Or when you're walking through a World War I, base, trenches, you're gonna learn a lot better. And I often tell the students this. A lot of times students will say, hey, tell us about classes. What are classes like in the school? And I say, well, we take a very experiential approach to the European Cultural Geography class and the Introduction to French Society class. Now, you could learn these things conventionally. Like, for example, we could ask you to write a 5-page paper on French cuisine, and you could get on the internet and look at Wikipedia or something like that, and try to maybe learn, oh, they have duck and they have a lot of ham, and I don't know what, the meals are a little longer. You'd figure those things out, and you could write a paper and turn it in and get a grade. Or we could go to 5 French restaurants, and you could experience what the food tastes like and see how the people live and how they interact and the pace. And then we could have a discussion about it afterwards in a group. Now, you tell me which student is going to understand French cuisine better. I think the experiential learning can't be touched. And even if the students were all present and not cheating, et cetera, which plague conventional education. All right, all that to say, I really like what we do in this room, and I certainly like the fact that we spend 14, 15, 16 hours a day with students. The teachers are living with them, so the conversation goes from the classroom into the dining hall, and it really becomes a very holistic and very, it's community of learning. It's just a wonderful thing. Well, this is what you're hoping not to have happen. Looks like a big piece of the house fell down. Now, where did it come from? Will be the question. Oh, it's right there. Yeah, that's not good. So they hit that. Well, it looks fixable, but that will need to be fixed. Yeah, there you have it. Just a small piece. Have to get a mason to come fix that. I wonder what happened. I wonder if they bumped into something with the lift, maybe, or in fairness to the guys, it is remarkably easy to knock stone off the house. Like, it's not that sturdy. It's not like you have to hit it with a sledgehammer. So who knows? Looks like the guys are done for the day. They were just heading out. It's Friday, so we'll see if they're back tomorrow, but lots of tarp on the back still, and it looks like we're not sealed in by any stretch. So yeah, I don't think they're going to finish by Christmas, but they are making good progress. In the distance, I'm hearing quite a few shots. They're hunting sanglier probably. And honestly, it looks like there's some markings out. There it is. Can you hear them? Yeah, like gunfire. So they're shooting at somebody. There's also quite a few sanglier markings on our front walk, our front long drive. So, and they look like in the last day or two. So I should probably call Guillaume and see if he wants to come get them. So we had a bunch of water come into the basement the other day, and it soaked this this carpet. And so I've been trying to dry it off, but it literally smells like something died. So we're gonna take this thing outside because I don't know what urinated on it or what happened, but it stinks to high heaven. The new car, Renault, a Peugeot 108. I actually really like it. Tiny little car. When we first got to France, we went into a car dealership and we saw one. I think it was 10,000, brand new. Leslie says it was 8, and we didn't buy it. And I remember thinking, this feels like a killer deal, and I kind of wish we would have bought one. But here it is, rental. I don't know if you can hear the church bells. Look at how high the water is. Wow, if you're from this area. That's really high. Seems like it's rolling over high. So very exciting. We're going back to the Four Seasons. Now, you know what? It's just we're having the lunch, the midi, ooh, look at it. The menu du jour again. And it was just such a good deal. It's like 20 something. And you're kind of like, this is too good of a meal. The others are fine too, but a lot of them are, 15, 20, even 25. And it's like, this is a few dollars more and so much better. So here we go. That is some moving water. Wow. And so it begins. Isn't that great? The pre-appetizer. Oh, I love it. What do you think it is, Beth?
Looks like
quesadilla.
a tortilla kind of thing.
Yum. Okay. This looks good.
It does.
They've rotated their bread choices today. And of course the butter, which is très bien for us North Americans. May that be a bad boy.
It's nice they gave us butter. Oh my goodness. A little hard this morning.
I hide the butter so they don't take it away. No, this is the official amuse-bouche, right? This is not the appetizer.
No.
This is a vegetable soup. Very yum. Take you into the close shop. We're debating if this is different or the same, but either way, it's amazing.
Yeah, you have smoked salmon.
Smoked salmon, tartare.
And smoked salmon and
you have beautiful. Look at that. You got the egg and the mushrooms. Oh, yep. Fantastic. And the bread's back. Ooh. And the bread's back for round 2. Yeah, but let's go in for the close-up. Oh. Ooh, you're gonna break the egg?
Okay.
I mean, you don't have to, but nice soft boiled egg over mushrooms. And this is the appetizer, ladies and gentlemen. We thought there was beef in there too.
No, not in this one.
Not in this one?
No.
Can't wait. Okay, it looks great. It is different. So we could have gotten, the beef was so good last time that we decided just to both get it. Which is not as good for video, but
it's going to be good again.
Yeah, it does look good. Legumes in there.
Yep.
What else did he say there's sauce?
So it's a Dijon mustard sauce.
A Dijon mustard sauce.
And this kind of looks like some kind of cold salad. I didn't know if he talked about that.
That looks like a mushroom. Really fancy one.
Yeah.
We're trying to figure out what this is.
Well, there's mushroom.
I thought potatoes. You thought cabbage.
It's like a cold salad that's warm. So there's, cabbage, there's mushroom, there's little pieces of ham.
Lardon, maybe. Little guy's got a hat. That's great. Some nuts today. Oui.
Je vous apporte des filanciers agrumes avec une crème vanille, ainsi que des noix et des rince-doigts à ne pas consommer.
We don't eat these. Yeah, c'est bon. Merci. I've been waiting to catch that. That's the napkins. Oh, we got nuts today. This is an amusement. This is not the dessert. This is the pre-dessert.
Yeah.
Crazy.
These will be local.
Every time I'm amazed. Okay, so the desserts are different too. What do we have there, Beth?
Well, it's not what I thought it was, so I'm not sure.
Not sure? And mine is, I think I had the fruits of the forest.
Well, it wasn't fruits of the forest, it was a fantasy fruits. So I'm not exactly sure what you actually.
I think it's ice cream on the top. These are good. These nuts are really good. What? I don't know. It's gonna be fun. So Leslie's definitely got chocolate. She thinks maybe apple.
Yeah, a little
What
compote.
is an apple? Oh, that looks good with the ice cream.
And then I think that's hazelnut. And I don't know what this is yet. I think it's just cream.
These are pistachios. And that's apple. And I don't know about the ice cream. You know, I'm not one of those guys, those adventure guys. But I think you could surf on that. I think a guy could surf on that. Got the sluice state. Probably dangerous. Come take a look around. It's just really cool how there's water all the way around this thing. It looks almost like a pool. Goodness. Oh man, it was another one of those things where you're sitting in the room and all of a sudden you're like, oh, the sky's pink, and you run outside and you're kind of like, can you see it? I don't know if you can see it. It's a beautiful house. It's a beautiful house. At least you can see the roof. The roof looks cool. You know, I just got a feeling that the sky's gonna get cool, and so I think what I'm gonna do is this. I'm gonna walk around taking pictures of the house, and I'm gonna answer a question that everybody gave earlier. Now, consider this bonus footage, so I'm putting it at the very end. If you're not interested, you don't have to watch it, and it relates to the exam that I gave. Now, on quite a few days ago, I can't remember which day. I'll put it as a title there. I gave kind of the final exam for one of my classes, Foundations of the Christian Faith. And I think we asked 5 questions, and then someone on the thing said, hey, you should give the answers. And I'm like, oh yeah, just in case you care. So the first question was, I asked the students, tell me about your grade for attendance and participation this semester. Every student had to get 50 points. Half the class was if you decided to come to class. And so I wanted the students to talk a little bit about why they chose to either come or not come, because basically they chose their own grade for this class. Only a 1-credit class. And what I was hoping they would say, a good answer would have been something like, I came to class, you know, I got 50 out of 50 because I think class is important, and I want to improve myself, and I want to show a good work ethic. That would be a good answer. Or even how about something like, because I believe that I have a good future and a potential, and I want to invest in myself by attending class, or I want to be a good steward of what I've been given, and I want to develop as a person. Or even I really liked the teacher in class was interesting. I would have taken that too. A bad answer would have been something like, oh, I couldn't come because I was really tired a lot, or because I just didn't feel like coming to class. And some people gave that answer, by the way. That would have been a bad answer. Second question was, I gave people, let's move around a little bit just in case you're getting bored with this view. I gave the students 9 historical events recorded in the Bible. I told them to put them in order. They were creation, then the flood, and then Abraham. God chooses a people: Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, Joseph. The Israelites go to Egypt. Then they're there for 430 years. Then Moses, 1446-ish. Abraham around 2000 BC-ish, if you do the math. Then the judges, Samson, guys like that. Then the kings, a guy like King David, that's about 1000 BC, and then Esther and Daniel and those kind of stories when the Assyrians and the Babylonians came in and took out Israel. So there's kind of like your Old Testament in a glance. Jesus at 0. Let's see if we can move here. Find some another shot. I'm counting on the sky to get really cool for us. It has not yet. It's cool, but not super cool. The next question was, there's 5 questions. Oh yeah, we talked all semester long about this thing called the zeitgeist, and the zeitgeist is sort of this, it's a German word, the spirit of the age. Like basically it's like conventional wisdom. Like what do people think about stuff? And so I asked, I tried to compare and contrast the zeitgeist with the kingdom of God. The kingdom of God is something Jesus talks about all the time in the New Testament. He talks about the influence and reign of the king. Basically, the ideas of the Bible, like you don't murder people in the kingdom of God, and you share food with the hungry in the kingdom of God, and you forgive people when they do things wrong to you in the kingdom. And so I tried to pick like 4 areas that would be significantly different between the zeitgeist and the kingdom. Obviously, the two agree on a lot of things. Like, I think feeding the hungry, I think the zeitgeist would say, yeah, it's a good thing, and the kingdom would say, yeah, that's a good thing. Or murder. Both groups would say, don't go around killing people. But there are some significant differences between the popular opinions, the zeitgeist, and the kingdom. Oh, the sky's starting to get better. Let me back up a little bit. Sorry, I'm a little ADHD by nature. Walking backwards, trying to film. So the first one I chose was, I believe, enemies, the treatment of enemies. The treatment of enemies, you know, the zeitgeist, I think, if you look at movies and popular opinion and you talk to people, they would say, if there's a bully, what you got to do is you got to learn to fight. You know, you got to learn to punch down the bully. You got to beat him up, stand up to bullies. Revenge, or even in international situations, if someone attacks you, you attack them. Someone shoots a missile at you, you shoot a missile at them. That seems to be the conventional wisdom of the zeitgeist. The kingdom, very different. New Testament's all about forgiveness. In fact, even turning the other cheek. Jesus will say stuff like, if somebody does something bad to you, you know, return good. Pray for those who persecute you. Turn the other cheek if they hit you. If somebody tries to steal something, give them extra. It's radically different thought. The idea of loving enemies and showing concern and care to those who are cruel to you. It's profound, I think, personally, but that's up to people, for people to decide. That was one. Money was another one. I think the zeitgeist, when it talks about money, would say the more you get, the better. He who has the most toys wins. You know, you look at professional athletes with their insane salaries, and everybody kind of seems to think that, well, you should get paid. Like, that's what you should do, is try to get as much as you can. Oh, are you starting to see this, by the way? Let's see if I can get the angle on it. If I click the right place, sometimes you get just to see it a little better. Ooh. Oh, we'll stay like that. How about? The kingdom has a very nuanced perspective on money. For example, great line from Jesus: a man's life does not consist in the abundance of his possessions. You are more than your stuff. Ecclesiastes talks regularly about how if you make money your life goal, you will end up disappointed because it's chasing after the wind. It's a fleeting goal. More money, more problems. Or in the words of the writer of Ecclesiastes, let's see, no, I've forgotten it. As goods increase, so do those that consume them. Yeah, wealth. It talks about the danger of wealth hoarded to the harm of its owner, or even how the love of money can be the root of all kinds of evil. So it's the kingdom speaks out against greed. It speaks out against get rich quick schemes. It has great things to say about hard work and honesty. It also says debt is dangerous. Very different than the zeitgeist. Boy, this is going long. I'm gonna have to do this in 2 parts. I think you guys, everybody's gonna be clicking off already. We also talked about love, sex, dating, that sort of thing. I think if you look at the popular opinion in the West, in countries like Canada, America, maybe Europe, I think the predominant thought is consent is everything. As long as 2 adults are willing to consent to something, it's okay. And so, for example, premarital sex is not frowned upon. Divorce is an option for folks. Abortion often is an option for folks. Different types of sexual preference, LGBT stuff is generally accepted, I think, in the zeitgeist. The kingdom of God, very different. The Bible actually talks a lot about those things, and a little bit surprisingly, it essentially talks about something that would be very unpopular in today's world called sexual immorality. So the Bible looks at sex and says, find one person that you can commit to for a lifetime and build a life together, build a family, commit to each other. And so it's not having sex with a lot of different people or cheating on someone, etc., etc. Very different. The last one is the view of the self, which maybe is a little bit hard to understand. The view of the self, and I think if you look at, for example, apocalyptic movie genre, like any movie about the end of the world, you see people who are going like crazy trying to protect themselves and their families, and sometimes at the expense of anybody. Like, you know, they'll break into your house and they'll take your stuff because they got to survive. That's kind of, you know, operation number 1. A lot of people that go through life kind of with the moral reasoning level of I need this or I want this, and so I'm going to take it. Whereas you come to the scriptures, and the kingdom of God directly teaches that you need to kind of deny yourself, and the first will be last, and you need to think of others. And we're not independent, we're interdependent. There's some wonderful verses to this effect, that each person needs to not just think about themselves, but think about love their neighbor, that kind of thing. So those are the first 3 questions. I've gone on for 9 minutes. I think that's probably long enough. I'll bring the next one in a couple of videos. Again, I'll put these at the end because I know not everybody wants to hear about this stuff. Hey, thanks for coming with us, and we hope you have a great day tomorrow and a great day today for those of you that are watching.